Jesus Christ. See, that's how comfortable this car is. I'm literally dozing off. This is such an airy car when the seats are out, don't you think? Hello guys, and welcome to the latest episode, which is we are going to reinstall the interior of this car, which will take a matter of a few minutes really. It really is that simple on this car. There is no electrics under the seats, there's just nothing. As with most of this car, it's gone together really nicely and it's come apart really nicely. And I've spent the last week cleaning these carpets so they are as nice and fluffy and nice to touch as a Rolls Royce. Trust me, these carpets I'm not a particular fan of. It's a sort of woven carpet that you get on many Fords of the 90s, noughties and beyond. But it's actually scrubbed up so well, it's untrue. I'm just going to go through what I've done inside the car, and then we're going to get the interior that I have retrimmed and re-glued and cleaned and painted and done all sorts of things with, which you're going to see. But first I'll show you around the interior of the car while everything is stripped out. Right, let's shut the door. No shoes allowed in here, no tripods, no shoes. It's too clean for that at the moment. I think I'll be banning people from wearing shoes in this car. It's literally that clean. It has literally come up to a T, this carpet. I will tell you that I employed the use of hand scrubbing and elbow grease in order to achieve this, but I had to actually go down a route I said I actually didn't really need to go down because I didn't think they were worth their time, and that is a spot wash. I have bought a second-hand spot wash machine, of which I obviously, you know how these things work, guys. They spray water down and vacuum it up at the same time, which is incredibly efficient. And I tell you what, that machine was taking away buckets and buckets of black water. I had to keep refilling the tank so many times because I just couldn't keep up. The amount of rubbish in this carpet is untrue. Now, there are a couple of things that I've had to do underneath the floor, which unfortunately I can't show you because it's a faff to get that carpet up again. The clips at the back, trust me, they are really hard to get off, and getting the carpet sitting right is critical. The one thing is we haven't got any rot in the footwells, which is fantastic. I can't see any evidence of anything. There was just a tiny amount of surface rust in this corner where the finger is. And that was where on the other side, guys, if you remember where I looked at the sill, there was like a tiny little pinhole. And I do believe that may be as part of it, but it's been treated and it should be absolutely fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that. As I say, as you saw in that video, I just put a tiny bit of filler. There was no need to weld that because the hole literally was a pinhole with a bit of clean metal around it. So I'm not concerned about that. If you look into older cars and you start grinding back areas that don't look as good, you'll find lots of pinholes, but it's often half the stuff you don't really want to find out. But as you can see in this interior, everything has been scrubbed down yet again. It's just annoying. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about that, but it's just one of them things, isn't it? But main thing is it's all been put back together. Now, there are a few things that I've noticed in this interior that actually made me think who's been at here in the first place. Firstly is these seat belts, and it's a decent feature on this car. I'd rather go through this now than rather later. So both of them were getting incredibly lazy, and the way I do it is silicone. You must silicone the belt, and what we have with this belt is brilliant. It's absolutely, yeah. But what I had to do is I had to actually remove this trim panel and this trim panel, the B-pillar panel, and actually get direct access to the retractor, because unfortunately just cleaning the belt wasn't enough. I needed to squirt it into the retractor itself. But anyway, what I'm curious about is that the seat belt on this side is pointing in the correct direction. It should be on the inside. It shouldn't be on the outside. It shouldn't be on the inside, right? On the driver's side, why is it there? Why is it on the inside? Now, I can't fathom how they've done that. I think that's why is that? Why is it like that? Has anybody else got a Mark III Fiesta? Could they check that their belt is either on the inside or outside? Because that is really weird. I mean, there's no way I can reverse that. I can't reverse it. I'd have to take the whole protractor out and try and release the belt. But a good job with that, because it's I think it's crimped in with a special crimp tool. So how the hell am I? Oh, I can't. I can't, because when you put it over your shoulder, the belt's going to be twisted across your shoulder. It's not going to be right. That's weird. I don't like that at all, but there's nothing I can do about it. Second thing is, this one, excuse me. You see this thing here, clunk clip, seatbelt comfort control. Has anybody else got that on a Mark III Fiesta or Ford? Because I think that is so cool. You can actually basically, I think essentially, if I just pull the belt and then just flip it up, yeah, it stops the belt from moving backwards. But why? Why is that needed on, and then, I'm not quite sure why that is. I mean, this isn't an inertia belt. That's interesting. It's a pre-tension belt. But as you can see, it doesn't go back anyway. This is the main problem I've got on this side. So on this side, pull this. Okay. Now pull this bit. So you're not pulling before this clunk clip system. You know, this side is rubbed off a little bit. This one, bit slower, but it goes back. This side, it goes back a little bit, but there's a little bit of resistance around here and here. I'm not sure why. But if anybody can let me know what the total reason for fitting this clunk clip seatbelt comfort control. It's an interesting feature, but not one that I think I'm going to use. I mean, I've never thought that, oh, I need to clip the belt into place because I don't want it going back. Very strange indeed. Right, next thing, I have looked at the boot. I've also cleaned the boot carpet as well. It's so nice and clean now. It's perfect. I mean, the boot is patinaed. Unfortunately, I put my big foot in it as usual. Yeah, it's like a crispy Easter egg, this insulation shell. There's this on the footwell there, and there. That apparently, thank you, Mark, for telling me that this is like sound deafening, but it's gone brittle. I mean, this is starting to go, but that has disappeared all the way down there between the bodywork and the insulator. What the heck? It's like a crispy Easter egg. This one's starting to go as well. It's just weird. So I've just had to be very careful so I don't cause any more damage. I have re-glued this material on the C-pillar behind the seats. This was starting to come off as well. But it's all looking really, really good. And obviously these seat belts are being cleaned. I've given some... what I have done is I've wet sanded all these seat belt anchors because they're looking a bit tarnished. And a bit of a polish up, and these are a bit slow going back, but they do go back. Again, this side, so that's on the outside. Why is that on the inside? Why? Oh, I've got to clean that bit. I missed that bit. Why is it on the inside? Come on. I just don't get it. Why is that on the inside? Why is this side on the inside? Is someone in the factory like fallen asleep or something, or someone? I don't get what that is about. I've never had a car with a belt on the inside. It's always on the outside. Oh, I don't know. If anybody says, oh, could I just twist the belt this way? Well, yeah, you can't twist it that way because then that will be twisted. There's no way of doing it. I've thought about it. There's no way you can do it. It was a manufacturing thing. Anyway, the carpet is looking fantastic. There is some insulation. There is an underlay underneath this, and it survived quite well. There was a bit of water, but I had to dry it out. some rust around here, but that's really all there is. I mean, it's just rust that's embedded into the carpet. You can't get it out. There's no rust on the underside. But yeah, these holes go all the way through the floor. Yeah, absolutely. That's why you got to be careful of when you take the bolts out, guys. But oh, it's just so nice. Can you see the difference in the carpet, guys, from what it was before? It was horrible before. Now it's nice and fluffy, and it's just like, it's like a big fluffy throw that you put over yourself on a cold winter's evening watching TV. It's nice. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is what was underneath here to this point here, on this side and this side, is the underlay was completely and utterly shot beyond its life. It was not only damp because of the water, but I think the water from the cleaning had finally killed it off. It literally, half of it stuck to the floor, the actual floor of the car, and half of it came away. So unfortunately, the piece that I ripped out goes here and then sort of up here a little bit, and I just ripped it out. So we had no underlay for a bit, and I was thinking, what could I do? I know that you can buy this stuff off eBay, you know, car underlay, and just cut it to size, but I don't really want to be forking out for stuff that really, honestly, it's not immediately essential. But what I did do is I've actually used carpet underlay that you find in a house, because I've got some left over round where I am. There's some underlay that I've managed to get my hands on, and it's exactly the same. It's recycled stuff. It's the sort of stuff that your tacks go into for your house carpet, and it's exactly the same sort of material, recycled material, as what this underlay is in this section. So I cut it to size, and I've just put it up here a little bit, just towards the back side here. This bit is I don't think this has got any underlay on this bit, the middle bit behind this air distribution, but it's all good, and that's the main thing about it. I do apologise if I'm talking too much, but the truth is I want to just show you a few features. This is so clever. It's a cubby hole. It's a little cubby hole to put something. How cool is that? That would be normally where your inertia cut-off switch would normally be, or some sort of ECU location. I don't know whether that was used for an ECU location on a later Mark III, but that is so cool. But yeah, as you can see, because of this underlay, we've got a bit of give now, and I'm really pleased, and it's all nice and dry, and that's what you want. Now, for some reason, someone in the past has been in this centre console. So this centre console unit, you would not have got, I think, if I'm right, the LXs did get this console, but no other than the LXs and Gears didn't get the console. So if you have a now a popular Plus, you didn't get this at all. You had a gear lever and a blower exit down there, which is this piece here, and it stops. This console bit did not exist. We have got a few scratches on it. Unfortunately, I can't really get rid of these. But someone's been in here before, because there was a screw. When you take this this metal pan off the gear lever, one of the screws on this side, there's two screws here, was not tightened down. There was a screw loose. This screw was missing, so I got it out of my spares. So someone's definitely had this console off. Plus, this piece here, which is just clipped on for the switches, it wasn't sitting flush, it was sitting out, so someone didn't put this back on properly. Now it's sitting nice and flush, as you can see. I don't know who's been in this and why they've been in it. I wonder whether there was a fault with this. I wonder, because I discovered that the reason this tailgate popper did not work is because there was actually a plastic it's like the sort of ball joint thingy that comes off the rod. It attaches to the rod and it pushes the popper. It was a cheap fix in the end, and that's all there was. But I suspect somebody was going in there having a look at this. Plus, I suspect if you've got electric window problems, then you might be looking at these switches and maybe thinking of cleaning the switches, and they didn't put it on properly. That's all I thought. And presumably they thought they had to take out the entire console just to get at them switches, because sometimes people don't assume things like that. They just go right ahead and they think, oh, what am I doing? And we've all done that, to be fair. But from what I can see, we've got this heat ducting for your feet on the side, but this is where the heat ducting comes from the the heater matrix. I know we can't really get in there because it's quite dark, but if I just, there's a couple of rods down there that will move about a bit. Ooh, yeah, everything's moving. We've got a couple of rods and everything's good, very good down there. Now on this side of things, well, we've scrubbed the carpet, we've sorted a tiny bit of what could have been more serious rust, but I've cleaned the floor, and that's a very nice fitting of a location. And yeah, we've cleaned all the surfaces. We've cleaned down here as well because it can get rather dirty down here. The brake pedal was looking a bit rusty around here, so I gave it a bit of satin black, cleaned the rubbers up, and cleaned all the carpet up, and it's looking really good. And just had a bit of a clean under the console. It's very, very simple, really. I like how the steering rack is actually at an angle to where it goes into the column, which is very strange. But yeah, that is the interior sorted, and I tell you what, it's looking amazing. The headlining is scrubbed up really, really well. I did sort out the sunroof as well, just by cleaning it. There is no rust, and I know that the water comes out the drain holes, through the sills and out the sills. However, what I am going to do is inject the sills, because I've discovered a couple of ways of injecting the sills. Mainly, there's a gap right there, straight into the sill. So I'm going to get some more Dynax, because I've run out, and inject both sills. I suspect that there was just a bit of surface rust that I noticed, because where your protractor is here, you can see into the sill. There's just a bit of surface rust creeping into that sill. I want to kill that stone dead, and Dynax will kill it. It's got corrosion inhibitors, which form a seal over current rust, and basically it doesn't allow the oxygen to get to it, and it kills it stone dead. But all in all, really good. And this is now ready to have the seats fitted back in, and yeah, we'll get there, and that's the main thing. Anyway, I am going to leave this here, and we're going to head into the house to have a look at my work. Okay, right, so as you can see on my bed, we have some very, very nice backrests. I mean, this took 2 seconds. You just take these Torx out, and you can lift this this arm protractor out the way, just to, well, this latch, I should say. I call it a latch anyway. But as you can see, the back seats have come up really well. You can see in the revealing light how good it's actually come up, and you can see all the lines, and it's given the seats some definition. And I don't know what mark that is. I don't know what's happened there. Didn't see that before. Might be in the contour of the seats. The problem is it will go to the contour of the foam. So if any foam has come away with the old material, it can leave an undulation in the pattern of the fabric. But overall, it was really easy. I mean, the backrests are really easy to take apart. You literally have these poppers. Remember these at the bottom of the seat bases? Yeah, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You take this. I tell you what, I've given this a bit of satin black as well. For, do you know what I said ages ago? Oh, I'm not going to get in for painting the back of the seats and all that. Well, what do you think I ended up doing? Yes, of course, because I've ended up doing all this anyway, so why not spray paint it? Now you got the foam out the way. I mean, there's no risk of painting the seat material, is there? So, yeah, I just went over with satin black. It's not the smoothest of finishes, but the idea is that it would have been kind of relatively stock. And this is... yes, this is looking fantastic. I had some problems with the material again, but I made it look as good as I can by folding it down the backside. But all good. And obviously the 2 seats here are looking ever so nice as well. That's just what you want to see. Well, let's not get caught up in this. Let's get all of this outside. Right, we start off with the bench seat first, because it was the last one to be taken out from the front, or from the back side I should say. Let's move all this out the way. I'm trying to rearrange all this. Okay. Now, what I would say beforehand is we've got these slits here in this bench seat. God, it looks so good. Honestly, that looks a million times better than what it did. It's just these rusty brackets, but the problem is you can't really clean them up without them rusting again. They're made from monkey metal, so I think we'll leave a bit of patina in place. But right, basically what we have here is a hook. There's a hook on the back side of this seat base, so it's just here, quite kind of concealed. What we need to do before then is get these buckles through, because it's gonna be a pain in the ass, this is. Oh, come on. Take some time, it's good. Right, I've got one through and I've got half a lap belt through, but this is really a bit awkward because what I've had to do is push that latch over that groove. So you push it down and you basically bring it over, and the seat should just pivot like that now. Should just pivot like that. Got a trapped seat belt though, and then you can try and get the seat belts through. It's a real faff this, so just be careful. I don't want to damage anything that I've done. But eventually they will come through, but that's a really tight gap. Oh, Jesus. Just before then, we got these screws to put back in. There's one in the middle. If I can actually aim it in properly. Okay, right, so all we need to do is hook this up. Now what we're going to do, we've got the two holes and two holes here to line up with these brackets. So this is what requires a couple of hands maybe. So I'm just going to get in the cart with my feet. Okay, so here we go. You are going to need a bit of support to sort of get it in position. There we go. Fantastic. And now we can just hook in a couple of these Torx bolts. The first one is always the most difficult. Just do them up by hand as much as possible. Once you've got the first two in, Ford Focus Mark 1 enthusiast will look at this and think, yep, it's probably a bit easier than in a Ford Focus Mark 1, because those back seats are really heavy, and trying to line the first bolt up is near on impossible. But with these seats that weigh absolutely nothing, I suspect that this steel, I think this is monkey metal personally, is quite light, and but it's the heaviest part of the seat, ironically enough. There we go. Lovely. Done. Now we can just put this back against the latch, just bring this belt across. It should. There we go. Slot straight in. Perfect. Across and done. Yeah, now that looks like a back seat. You can see the undulations just here, can't you, of the foam underneath. There was a little bit of degradation to the foam at the top as well, but it doesn't matter. You can, oh yes, I can see a pattern in the seats. That is exactly what you want. And it's so clean. It feels clean after being in the washing machine. Oh, fantastic. Well, I suppose we better get the front seats done. Now, for the front seats, you're going to need a 10mm with an extension. These with the flat washers go at the back. The single ones go on the track at the front. No particular technique for this. If you've got a 3-door Fiesta, you've got big doors. Whereas if you've got a 5-door, you've got smaller doors. So I go head resting first and maybe go at an angle. But just get it seated. Lovely. Right, let's just get that first bolt in. Get the first bolt in. It doesn't matter which one it is, just get it in. And then you won't have the chair falling backwards. Right, let's go in from the back side. And just line all this up. These subframes have been cleaned to a T. Problem is getting this lined in. Sometimes it will want to fight you a little bit. Tighten these up by hand. There's one there, and this is the problem. So what you got to do is you've got to push the seat forward. You see how there's still some slight I missed a patch there, but these things do happen. There you go, and then we can get access to this bit just here. You can see where the chair was once sitting. There we go. Just adjust it into position and just wind it in by hand as much as you can. I think it's best to use a wobbly bar because it just misses the chair. Don't want to damage the plastic. Yep, that's gone solid. You stop when it goes much more firmer. This one. Can still see the seat base going down a bit. And that's gone firm. Lovely. Fantastic. There's no movement at all. And you know what? Apart from obviously this here, which I knew about would happen. And a tiny bit of bubbling, but you can't eliminate it entirely. That looks like a much tidier seat. Looks so much better. It's just a bit of dirt just around here. I'm being picky because everything looks much cleaner and it exposes all the bits that don't look still as clean, but I'll go over again. Certainly the seat belts need a looking at again. It's just colouring that. There wasn't colour in this before. It was just grey and nasty and just no lines, no pattern, no form. Feels like an interior again instead of a load of foam with baggy material sitting over them or lying on top of them. I'm now just going to put the driver's seat back in and we'll have a look at the results. Well, after much cleaning with my my products over here, my favourite products, the Auto Glim Vinyl and Rubber Care, and GT85, my favourite friend, with a microfiber and a scrubbing brush when needed. Yeah, this is the result, and I'm gobsmacked. I'm gobsmacked. I've just cleaned the seat belts again, and I've just cleaned all the rubbers, because they just needed an extra going over. But we now have seats with a profile, a pattern, and they feel good, they feel clean, they look clean. They've changed colour. They've gone from a grey colour to a grey with a hint of blue, and that is exactly what these seats are, because it is blue. I don't know why it gives off the impression they're grey. They're blue seats. This is a blue colour. It's a dark blue, unless I'm completely colourblind. But now everything has been cleaned to into its life. I've just done over the door cards. I had to bash this door card down because it wasn't quite sitting right after I did that job. Unfortunately, we're starting to get some blasted pitting again on this thing, so I might have to redo that at some point. I didn't do it fully. I might have to take the whole thing out this side like I did with that side and sort this side out. But I managed to push it down and it's all good. And, well, yeah, there are a few things that I'm not as happy with. For instance, if you look at the passenger seat, you can obviously see some bubbling and rippling. Unfortunately, yeah, I was aware about that. I didn't know how exposed it would be. And at the front here, we've got slight lack of glue. Yeah, that was my fault. But to be honest, for £15, even the headrests look good. For £15, at the cost of £15, and my labour is free, that's astonishingly good. That adds so much value to a car. It's untrue. Having proper looking seats and a really nice looking interior. That's exactly what I aim for. The moment I bought this car, I thought, well, before I even bought it, had it delivered, I knew those seats have got to be sorted because they just let the whole interior down. We've cleaned everything else up. Very few parts have been replaced. Everything's just been refurbished because parts for very early Mark III Fiestas, as I'm finding out more and more, are very hard to get hold of. So, yeah. And speaking of which, I have got some floor mats. Now, you have seen these in the driver's footwell. These were given to me by Rob. Thank you so much, Rob. At least I've got some floor mats. Otherwise, I'd have to have some made because it doesn't look right without them. But if anybody has got Mark III Fiesta waffle mats, the genuine waffle mats, and you're not asking an absolute premium for them, and I'm sorry, I am not going to be paying £100+ for two, because they seem to go for that. Not necessarily the rear ones. You can get the rear ones as well, but especially the front ones. If I could get just two for the front ones, that would be fantastic. But if you've got all four, that's a bonus. If you've got all four, then that's going to obviously be more money, and I'll be prepared to pay more. But I'm not paying over £100 for just two. That's crazy, and a lot of them are starting to wear out on the driver's side, as you usually expect. The rubber's just starting to go where you put your heels. So I'm going to keep these with me on the car for now. This one goes on the driver's side, but I'm just going to stick with these for now. But if anybody has any replacements, then please let me know. There were some holes, but I suspect, I don't know what car this has come out of, but it fits really, really nicely into this car, actually. A little bit on the narrow side, to be honest, but the truth is it keeps my feet away from the carpet. So I think that's the main thing, really. Just go over with this. Ooh, some remnants of auto glim. I'll have a look at this to see if I can get some of that old polish off. Maybe some Scotch Brite might do some trick. Still work in progress, but we're getting there. And if we ignore the burns of the past, this interior is, as most people would say, mint. And it is, apart from that and that. Now, obviously, we have got some shrinkage going on. You can't, unfortunately, you can't avoid that. It doesn't look particularly nice. And you're coming from this side, we have still got a couple of areas. It was never going to be perfect, but I think for £15, no one's going to complain about that. And I'm not going to complain because I don't think the camera actually shows how good these seats actually look compared to what they actually used to look when I bought the car. If you go back to a previous video, then you know you'll find that. But now I can put this carpet back here. I didn't intend to put it back in until all this was done out, but fantastic. And I have put some spare bits in here, the guide and some spare parts and some Red X, because we're going to need more. That's just for the time being, because the next thing on my agenda is getting this car to idle properly. Now, there is a few things going on with the carburetor. That is for another video, but in hindsight, my task when I bought the car, I said a bold statement that I'm going to make this the nicest Mark III Fiestas current, that in existence. And I think that this job has gone a long way to doing that. You cannot completely eliminate the shrinkage and the baggage, but you can make it look 95% better from what it was before. And that is the end of this video. So if you've got a Mark III Fiesta or Mark 4 or 5 Escort or Ryan Mark III, and you have the same seats, the baggy material, then please have a go. It will cost you very little, and the results, I'm not an upholsterer, and quite clearly I'm not an upholsterer. If I paid £600-700, and I'm telling you now, this would have cost a lot of money. I reckon around £600-700 to do these seats, but I did all the carpets myself as well, you know. And that would have been a professional clean of quite a few £100. So for the total of 600-700 plus, you have to live with a few things, and I certainly can. But you can save an awful lot of money by improving the car to a heck of a good high standard. And I just want to sit in the driver's seat before I finish. Oh, yes. Oh, that's so nice. And I'll just pop this up here. There we go. Oh, yes. This car now feels like a car ready to drive. Guys, I'm going to leave you be with this very positive end to the video. I hope that I can get this car to idle, because it will happen eventually, even if I have to drag it kicking and screaming. God knows how long that's going to take me. It could be instantaneous. We'll see. Anyway, guys, from me and Ruby, while the nicest Mark III Fiestas remaining, take care.